This is Jeremy Strike and Bharat Gupte. Bharat will be speaking on blockchain and security and on a panel later today. Bharat, good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. So what brings you to Igniter?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity to interact with students, with folks that are looking to build companies, and especially in the area of AI and blockchain. Those are both enabling technologies, but at the end of the day, it's what solutions you can provide to the real world that are meaningful. And I'm looking to see, what ideas people have and how those can be transformed into real world solutions and help them fulfill their ambitions to create real companies.
That's great. As far as ideas go, we'll come back to that. But so what you've been involved in this space for 20 years, maybe not blockchain, but in tech and in artificial intelligence for years. So what brought you to blockchain from artificial intelligence?
Well, I think the core thing that I tend to look for is enabling technologies, because those help create the infrastructure to solutions. And I think in spite of the fact that cryptocurrencies have been around for years or almost a decade or more, blockchain as a core fundamental technology is now being applied to other areas, other verticals. Real estate transactions is an example. Smart contracts is another example. Supply chains, managing food supply, managing production of pharmaceuticals. These are all value-added solutions. And so blockchain becomes the baseline or core that allows people to immutably track these events and make sure that the entire supply chain or the contract or the transaction is completely secure in the process.
I'm sorry. So would you say that the blockchain is the future rather than cryptocurrencies?
Well, as I mentioned, blockchain is the technology. Cryptocurrencies is an example of a real-world solution. Again, if you look at crypto, it's kind of gone through this down cycle. I'm pretty sure it'll come back again. And a big part of that is just making it easier to conduct transactions in a seamless fashion. So if you look at the rate of growth in some of these areas, Coinbase, which was started relatively recently, has 20 million clients. Charles Schwab, which was trading brokerage, started 47 years ago.
Yeah.
They have 14 million clients.
Wow.
So there's a remarkable difference at the rate of adoption. And this is happening globally. So, physical boundaries are not constraints in the crypto world.
Yeah.
And the millennial community is absolutely taking advantage of that, regardless of where they are literally on the planet.
Right, and that, in a way, that's one of the value propositions, right? Is that you can have these banking systems and transactions in the Serengeti and in South Africa and anywhere, right? It's
Absolutely
limitless.
true. Absolutely true. And the other part that attracts the millennials tremendously is the fact that it's peer-to-peer as opposed to a centralized operating system. And of course, it benefits you even more when the transaction costs are a heck of a lot lower than what the banks would charge you for conducting those transactions.
So we talked about ideas earlier. So what do you say, or what do you see as the next step? Or maybe a better question is, in 2019, what blockchain or AI technology excites you most?
So as I said before, what I look for is using AI or blockchain as an enabling approach to solving a real world problem. And those are the kinds of companies that I work with, I invest in, I support, because at the end of the day, customers are looking for a solution to a problem that they're dealing with. And whether you do it through blockchain or whether you do it through pen and paper, they don't really care. What they do care about is making it seamless, making it much lower cost, and making it effective. So those are the critical things that folks are looking for. And I think blockchain technology is making significant progress, both in the private and the public domain with real estate transactions, with the title insurance companies, as an example, in the supply of food. So at Walmart, for instance, they're using blockchain for smart food tracking. And so this is becoming more ubiquitous than we would imagine. And it'll be much more so, in the coming years.
Is it the type of landscape that you think will be blockchain and cryptocurrencies, for what they're worth, will be implemented by companies like Facebook and like Google and like the big tech companies, or will it be new companies springing up and generating their own?
Well, I can't speak to what Facebook and Google are doing because I just don't know. On the other hand, each generation of core technology is often developed by new startups because it's a completely new paradigm.
Yeah.
And it's a different area that people explore. So I just don't know what the big players are doing. On the other hand, if you take a look at IBM Watson, that is already being used for blockchain implementations.
Interesting.
So it's AI being used for blockchain purposes.
So you mentioned startups being kind of like the courier of progress, right? So that reminds me of Joseph Schumpeter. I studied econ in college.
Wow.
So this notion of creative destruction, right? So my question for you, I guess, is twofold. One, who are your authors that you read in this space or listen to, or thought leaders in the blockchain and artificial intelligence area?
There are a number of significant players. There's a company called CryptoWork, and the CTO at the company came out of CMU. I forget his name off the top of my head. The CEO is a gentleman named Dirk, and he has a German last name, so I'm not too sure on it. But he is, one of the leading lights on blockchain, and so the company is doing really well in terms of deployments into pharma, into aerospace, and a slew of others. There's a number of articles appearing in The Economist, in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
But I think all these journals, they're kind of still early.
Yeah.
And so once it starts appearing in these journals, then it's already become fairly mainstream. So I would say that there are plenty of folks even at Stanford that are speaking at a number of these conferences, as well as Berkeley, because the neighborhood tends to generate the ecosystem that drives the whole progress in early stage of new technologies.
Yeah, just like the new municipal bond that Berkeley's issuing on blockchain.
Wow. Yes.
Unbelievable, right?
It's an unusual concept.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll see. All right, Bharat, this was excellent.
Delightful. Thank you so much, Jared.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to your talk.
Well, so am I.
Appreciate it.